This video will serve as a high-level introduction to the EasyLobby SVM application. During this demonstration, we will discuss current trends in visitor management, specifically around the security industry and technology, and a suggested workflow for a visitor coming into your building, including pre-registration and inviting visitors, the visitor check-in process in both attended and unattended lobbies, the use of ID scanners and watch lists, access control integration basics, and available reporting. We will also open and demonstrate several modules within the EasyLobby SVM product to show how your employees will invite a visitor, the visitor experience during check-in, and the operator experience to handle visitors and other tasks typically managed at a front desk. Let's start by talking about the changing role of security. For a long time, security teams have been seen as a business inhibitor. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of overhead involved with running a security operation, so it's typically seen as a drain on expenses or a cost center. Security personnel have followed a lot of manual processes in the past and are often caught up in a reactive cycle where they are constantly following up on events that are in progress or have already happened, rather than preventing them in the first place. And when they are being proactive, the business perceives them as being an inhibitor, telling your employees that they can't or they shouldn't do certain things that might be good for the business, but add a certain security risk. Over the past few years, we've seen that the security industry is actively trying to shift that perception and become much more of a business enabler. They've realized that oftentimes the first person a new visitor to your building comes in contact with will be a member of your security team. And this sets them up to create a great first impression on behalf of your company or brand. Additionally, they're trying to move away from so many manual tasks and find ways to automate their processes. And by doing this, they are then able to be seen as much more customer focused and strike a balance between security and customer experience. We've also seen changes in the technology used to manage visitors. While it used to be that using a pen and paper logbook to track visitors in and out of your building was acceptable, there are now many more automated options available. We've seen the technology shift from being those simple pen and paper visitor logs to being tracked on a computer, often initially as a simple spreadsheet. That's transitioned to much more robust systems that are actually focused on tracking visitors, allowing you to link together multiple lobbies or buildings, and now there are even much more sophisticated options available. These include visitor management systems like EasyLobby that allow your employees to invite guests ahead of time, integrate with an access control solution, and can even offer self-check-in experience as a way to speed up the entire process. So, what's been driving these changes? First, there's no denying that today there is a focus on safety and security being a top priority. There's a need for the security teams to be proactive, and companies recognize the importance of being able to provide strong entrance controls and having the ability to account for who is in their building in the event of an emergency. There's also the push for companies, no matter how small, to present themselves in a professional and business-savvy manner. This starts with a great first impression through the use of a visitor invite and check-in system, as well as having the ability to issue printed badges that match your company's branding and clearly identify visitors while on site. And finally, the need for automation. By using a tool like EasyLobby, you are able to have your front desk staff move away from doing manual entry of visitor data and instead have them focus on other priorities for your company. By automating the process of both inviting visitors, scanning their IDs, and offering a self-check-in station, you can make the most of both your employees and your visitors' time. Now we'll walk through the main stages of the visitor lifecycle before opening the application. First, you'll want to pre-register your guest. With EasyLobby, there are a couple of ways that you can accomplish this. You could have your employees send a list of visitors to your front desk operators so that they can then enter those details into the system. Or you could use the eAdvance module to allow your employees to enter the visitor details themselves and trigger an invite to the visitor. I'll show you eAdvance in just a little bit. Once that visitor is pre-registered, they can come in and check in on site. As part of that check-in process, you can use an ID scanner and pull information in about your visitor. By using an ID scanner, you can reduce the errors in typing, ensure consistency, and speed up that check-in process. Also, while checking in, you can vet the visitor against an internal watch list to look for those people who you may not want to admit into your building or who you've denoted as a VIP. You can also subscribe to an external screening service, which will query against a government or a state watch list and help alert your team to who's trying to enter your building. As part of that check-in, you can issue your visitor a badge. And Easy Lobby is compatible with both label printers and smart card printers and has dozens of badge templates so that you can customize. You can set up the application to print one badge type for a personal visitor or family member and a very different badge design for a contractor that might be on site for a week. Additionally, Easy Lobby can send out a notification as part of that check-in process to notify your employee that their guest has arrived on site and that they should expect to go and meet them in the lobby or that their visitor will arrive at their meeting space soon. At the end of the visit, you'll want to check your visitor out. There are a couple of different ways that you can handle this. You can have your visitors check out as they exit the lobby using a barcode scanner or by manually checking them out in the application. And this is a great way to know exactly who is in your building at any one time. Or if you would like, you can have Easy Lobby automate that process and simply sweep all of the visitors to a checked out status at the close of your business day. And finally, after the visitor has left, you can review reporting. We find that not only do our customers use Easy Lobby's reporting suite to follow up on security incidents or provide compliance documentation, but they can also review their visitor traffic patterns to better understand how their buildings are being used and peak times for occupancy. Next, we'll take a look at the Easy Lobby application itself. We'll be starting with the pre-registration tool, eAdvance. This is the Easy Lobby eAdvance pre-registration tool, and typically this is housed on a company's intranet to allow all of your employees to be able to register their own visitors. There's a couple of different options for how somebody might register a visitor. They can pre-register a single visitor, or they could pre-register a group where they put in common information about the visitor here up top, and then they can simply enter the first and last name of everybody in that group. They can also pre-register large groups by using our CSV upload tool. To do that, you would once again add the common information about that group up top, and then you would simply upload a CSV file that has all of the details about your visitors. And we have customers that are using this tool to successfully pre-register several hundred visitors in about 30 seconds. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to only register a single visitor. So the first thing I would choose here is the employee, and that's essentially who is the host of this visitor. And most of your employees would only see their own name here, but we do have an option called Gatekeeper, and using the Gatekeeper tool, you can allow certain employees to be able to invite visitors on behalf of others. So think, for example, an administrative assistant might have a whole group of people that they're scheduling visitors for. Next, I'm going to choose the reason for my visit. This drop-down list is actually editable within the main Easy Lobby application so that you can make these items match your company's needs, because the list of meeting types for a school might be very different than the list of visit types for a corporation. Then I will choose the category of visitor. So essentially, what type of visitor is this? And again, this list can be edited to match your company's unique needs, so you can add items, remove them, or edit the items that are available out of the box. Then I would choose the location of the visit. I've got my arrival and departure date, and this is set up with a default time within the main SVM application. And then down here is where I would put in my visitor's information. When I hit submit, an email would be sent to my visitor, and on that email would be all of the visit details that I would need for that day. It would include the location, my host, my expected arrival time. There's also a space where you've got an open text that you can have a message that goes out to all of your visitors. So that could provide directions for parking, or if you need them to bring certain documentation with them, you can include that on that message. Also within that email would be a barcode, and that barcode can actually help to facilitate the check-in when your visitor arrives on site. So next we'll look at Easy Lobby running in the self-registration mode for what the visitor check-in looks like. What you see here is Easy Lobby running in its self-registration mode. This is essentially a public-facing mode of running the check-in process. You can have your visitors check themselves in entirely unattended, or you could have your visitors start the check-in process using this and then finish with somebody at your front desk, or you could have somebody at your front lobby assist with the entire process of visitor check-in. You can select which languages appear on this front screen for your visitors to select from. What you see here is our main registration screen. Because this is a demo workstation, I have every single option for how somebody might register their visitor. In the real world, you would want to tailor this down to just those workflows that work for visitors at your site. This first option here is to enter my registration number. This is where if I had printed out that email, or if I had my smartphone and I had my email there, I could scan it underneath a barcode reader and it would read the barcode embedded in that email. It would then look for my information in the system and display that to me. I also have options to manually enter in my information for it to search for me as a visitor. I could enter in my last name and who it is that I'm there to see, or put in my email address. And finally, there's an option where I can scan an ID and it will search for me. So right now I'm scanning my driver's license. And the first thing that's going to happen is that the system is going to recognize that the license that I scanned is actually expired. Now, I wouldn't recommend having this on a public-facing kiosk because I think these messages can confuse somebody, but it is really nice if using an expired document is something that you can't allow a visitor to enter your building with. I'm going to say that it's okay, and then you can see here that it's looked me up, and it's recognized that I have a pre-registration. It's also recognized that there's somebody with a very similar name who also has a pre-registration, so I can choose which one is me. If I wasn't on that list, I could manually enter my information. Now you can see here that it's pulled in my information off of my ID. I'm going to confirm that that looks correct. And then it's showing me some information about my upcoming visit. You have an option where you can either show this screen or choose not to, depending upon how much information you want your visitor to walk through as part of the check-in. So now you can see that it's pulled my photo off of my ID. It has all of the information about my visit. And when I hit register, it's going to mark me as being checked in the system. It's going to start to print my badge. And it's going to send a notification to my host that I am on site. So now let's take a look at what it looks like on the inside of the application. What you see here is the main Easy Lobby application. And on this page, what we see is all of the visitors that are expected for today. You can see over here on the left-hand side that each visitor has a little icon next to their name. And that icon indicates their current status. You can see that top one, that's me, checked in. I can also see the other visitors that are currently checked in. And I can see that there are a couple of visitors down here that are currently checked out, but they're still considered a valid visitor because their time has not yet expired on their visit, so they may come back even though they're not currently in the building. I can also see that there's somebody else who's been pre-registered that hasn't yet showed up. Now I'm going to open up the All Visitors so that we can see even more statuses. Again, you can see over here on the left-hand side that there are a number of different statuses for these visitors. We find that anybody that uses the application for even just a few hours becomes very familiar with what these statuses mean. But if they ever see an icon and they don't know what it means, there's a key down here that'll show you what they all indicate. One of the nice ones is this green circle with a red X, and that indicates that somebody has been checked in, but their visit has ended and they have not yet checked out. And we have an option where you can send an alert 10 minutes after they've overstayed their welcome, an hour after they've overstayed their welcome, whatever timing works for you. And you can send that out to your security manager or to the host to notify them that this visitor has potentially overstayed their welcome. This is really nice because then the host can follow up and tell you that either the visit has run long or potentially they left out a side door and didn't go through the proper checkout process. But having that level of detail really allows you to know which of your visitors you can account for and which ones you might need to do some follow-up on. So now we're going to open up a visitor record and we're going to take a look at Leah's record. And you can see up top here I have some basic information about Leah. I've captured her photo. And then down below I've got much more detailed information. So here on the Contact tab, I've got lots of fields that I can capture information about Leah. If there's any of this information that you're not interested in capturing about your visitors, you can actually turn those off. Next, we have the Photo tab, and you can capture up to 3 photos of your visitor. We also have an option where if you have a requirement to prove that you have validated somebody's ID, that when you scan their ID, you can actually have their entire driver's license appear here as a thumbprint image. Next, we have the Badge tab, and this is where you can see details about this visitor's badge. You can see here that Leah was considered a long-term visitor because she was given permission to be on site for more than a month. I can also preview her badge from here, and you can see that she's got a pretty simple badge design, but you can go in and customize this badge design if you want to add your logo or any other items that are important to you. Easy Lobby comes with dozens of different badge designs out of the box. One of the things that you'll notice about Leah's badge is that she has a barcode available, and that would enable her to use it for check-in and check-out multiple times. Also within her record, we have a Signature tab. And during that check-in process, if you had wanted, you could have had a document appear, a non-disclosure agreement or a safety agreement. You can have your visitors read that document and acknowledge it on screen, or you can even have them sign a signature pad and then capture that signature here. And if you had done that, it would indicate on the right-hand side what type of document she had signed for. As you can see, Easy Lobby has lots of different fields that you can capture information about your visitors on. But if there's any information that's really critical for your company to capture and you don't see a place to do it, Easy Lobby offers up to 24 different user-defined fields that you can use to capture whatever information is most important to you. And you can use those user-defined fields in different formats. So you could offer a simple checkbox where you check or uncheck. You can have an open text box to fill in information, or you can create your own pick lists to choose from. After that, we have the Entry tab, and this is important because this is where you can see on screen all of the activities that a particular visitor did. So I can see every time that Leah checked in or checked out at one of our locations. And you can see the time that she did it, what location she was at, what workstation she was at, and then over here on the far right, you would see what operator actually assisted her. We also allow you to capture information about your visitors' vehicles. This can be really helpful if you have a guard shack or a remote parking location that your visitors are coming in through. Now, if you're not using things like the vehicle information or the signature pad, or you're not concerned about capturing photos, you can actually turn these entire tabs off so that they don't appear on your screen, therefore limiting the number of things that your staff has to look at when they're looking at Easy Lobby. The final tab is the Notes tab, and this is really nice because when you enter a note in here, it actually creates an exclamation point at the top of the record. So anybody would know when they open up Leah's record that there's a comment in the notes section and they should probably check on it. If there's not a comment in there, no exclamation point will appear. Now I'm going to show you what an employee record looks like. So this is what the employee grid looks like. And you can see we've got a number of employees here, and this information can be pulled in from Active Directory or another similar tool that might house all of your employees' information. And you'll notice that a number of these have their names in red. So if you look here, you'll see that we've got our employee John Kopka. He's actually marked as inactive, meaning that he is no longer employed with our company. This is important because this means that if somebody comes in as a visitor and their host is listed as John Kopka, it would actually prompt the operator to either assign that visitor to a different employee or to not allow that visit. We also have a security feature where you can prevent a former employee from coming in as a visitor if that's something that you're concerned about. Similar to on the visitor record, we have multiple tabs where you can collect information about your employees. This is also where you can manage some of their e-advance permissions to be able to pre-register visitors. Now I'll walk you through some of the alerts that we have as options. Our first option is the watch list. And on this screen, you can add people to an internal watch list. And these can be people that either you don't want to allow on site or that are actually VIPs. And you can capture a photo of them, provide aliases, decide if you want this to be a temporary or a permanent solution, and you can put in special instructions for each person that you enter onto this list. If somebody tried to check in and their name was George Thomas, or if I had aliases listed for George Thomas, it would actually prompt the operator to confirm whether or not it was a match to this person on the watch list. And as always, you can also choose to set people as being VIPs. Easy Lobby also allows you to track frequent visitors or the maximum number of visitors. So if you want to know who's on site most frequently, you can track that. Or if you want to limit the number of visitors that a certain category of your employees or hosts can have at one time, you can set that up here. We also allow you to do time and value-based alerts. During that initial check-in process, if you had wanted somebody to acknowledge a safety agreement, you could actually make it so that that safety agreement was only valid for 1 year. And so after acknowledging that agreement, I would be able to come and go as a visitor for up to 365 days. And after that had passed, the next time I came to check in, it would actually stop me and have me re-acknowledge that form. Easy Lobby also has a company watch list and a country watch list. So if you've got certain visitors coming in from out of country that you need additional documentation from, you can have the machine prompt you to do that. Similarly, with the company watch list, you can enter in companies that you have visitors from that maybe you need to provide a set of keys for or access to a certain part of the building, say a vendor that comes in and fills your vending machines or somebody that does repairs, and you can put in those companies here so that every time somebody comes in from there, you're reminded to either give them those keys or make sure they have access to that back closet. Within Easy Lobby, we have a fully configurable system. So you can go in and really set the system to work in a way that'll work best for your company. That includes being able to go through your visitor field and choose of all of the possible visitor fields which ones you want to have enabled, which ones you want to have required, which ones should appear in that visitor grid, and then if you're pulling information off of a driver's license or business card, what information specifically you want to house in your system. Within Easy Lobby, we also have a package, an asset, and a lost and found module because we find that these types of tasks oftentimes happen from that front desk. Here you can see where you could check in a package. You can actually have a barcode assigned to that package, and then if somebody comes to collect it, you can sign it back out to them. Similarly, you can track assets that you may have loaned out to employees or to visitors at your site. So if you're handing out walkie-talkies or keys from your front desk, you can track who it is that has them at any one time and be prompted to ask for them back at the end of the visit. And finally, we've got the lost and found. The lost and found is really nice because we know that oftentimes items that are found at your company are dropped off at that front desk. And so this allows your staff to track that information about items that are dropped off. You also may have a different process for how you handle something like a coat or an umbrella where you're just tracking minimal information about it, as opposed to a wallet or a cell phone where you may want to capture a photo of the item and even capture a signature when somebody comes to pick up or claim the item. Easy Lobby also has a reporting suite, and you can use any of the reports that we offer out of the box, or you could use a reports wizard to customize a report to meet your specific needs. You can see here that we've got reports for all of our different modules. And then we've got dozens of reports available for you to choose from for use. We find that typically most of our customers go through and choose 3 or 4 reports that work best for them. Once you've selected a report, Easy Lobby is going to walk you through a filtering option to make sure that you're seeing just the right amount of data. So you can choose to have all dates or a specific date range that you're looking for, and I can choose to search for all types of visitors, or I could choose a specific type of visitor. And this filtering is actually related to the type of report. So different reports will offer you different filters to start from. So now the report is going to appear on screen, and you can see it's been optimized to print out. But you can also take this report and export it to Excel or a similar tool so that you can sort and use the data as you need. And you can see on the report it is sorted by information first by the company, and then it's providing me all of the information about who my visitors were from that company, who they were there to see, and the reason for their meeting. As you can see, Easy Lobby has a lot of different options for how you can customize the solution for you. HID has a strong inside sales and technical support team that are happy to assist with getting your system set up. If you have any questions about Easy Lobby, don't hesitate to reach out.